This Hollywood Casino 400 presented by ESPN Betting Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE, SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He, as always, is Cody Zeeb. I am Rod Villagomez, and we are fresh off the heels of yet another exciting playoff race. And now we enter a mile and a half where I don't know that we've been in a very long time. Not the physical location, Cody, but just the fact that this is a mile and a half track, and it feels like we just haven't been to one in forever.
Well, we have not been to one since the coming out party of Captain
Oh my
Shook.
God. Indy was a 2.5 mile.
Indy's a 2 mile, but yeah, a true 1.5 mile oval was the Coke Cola 600. I mean, we've had intermediates of like Darlington and I think Pocono has been since then in Indy, but true 1.5, the old what used to be cookie cutter isn't anymore. Clearly, we haven't been there in 6 months. It's been since the Coke 600.
How insane is that? I mean, it used to be that it was like back to back weeks. It was mile and a half, and now, like you said, we don't get one in several weeks, and now we're at the back, nice, expansive Kansas Speedway. Cody, you're not going to make it to this one though this year, huh?
Sadly, not this weekend. Unfortunately, I was there in the spring for. I was going to say a great race, but it really wasn't. But I was there in the springtime. Unfortunately, not able to make this one due to other commitments we've got going on. But Kansas generally delivers really great racing. It was a good race back in the spring. There was a lot of battles throughout the track. Obviously, Captain Shook himself stunk up the show, leading most of it and just kind of dominating the place. But it was a good race as usual. And we got some tire changes and stuff this weekend. I think we're in for a good show with the pressure of the playoffs.
Boy, all these tire changes over the last few weeks, it's like they are announcing them, and then we just go into this complete and total uproar over we don't know what to expect, and then all of a sudden there's really nothing, especially like this week where they were saying the tires. I mean, I don't feel like the tires played a whole lot into it up until the point where maybe it did a little bit, but not as big as I think we maybe had hoped for. I don't know. It was just last week is a weird week. Cody, we just talked about it before we got on. Obviously, we can't recap the whole damn race, but what a week, huh?
We're on
to Kansas. I don't know, man. I had a pretty good week, especially in trucks. I definitely, I had a fantastic week.
I didn't actually get to see majority of the race. I've mostly just caught up on highlights and stuff. We had a ton going on Sunday. Super busy weekend for us. But I mean, obviously I was all in on the Bell train, all in on the Toyota train, and it was a Penske Ford showdown, and they never really had a chance at all, nor were any good really. So, and I don't like tried to look back and think why, but I'm unsure because, yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
there's a big unloading conversation going on right now in the Discord, so maybe that has a lot to do with it. But definitely on to Kansas, and just want to tell you though, while you're at it, go check out the SGPN app in the App Store because you can catch all of our Kansas content there on the App Store, and of course NFL, college football, all kinds of crazy stuff that's going on all over the SGPN network, and it's easy access to all of our free picks and our props. I had a pretty rough go of the NFL. I mean, I still ended up on the winning end of it, but boy, there was a lot of matchups that I was on the wrong side of, unfortunately. But
thank God for the NFL this week, and the expert suck is in the chat, but he was in the chat yesterday in the Discord talking about thank God for NASCAR bets saved him from a football weekend. I was the complete opposite. Thank God for football. I think I went 11-5 against the spread this week, Rod. I believe waiting on official confirmation, but I think I was number one at the SGP network, which is a little inside contest we have going on over there. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I had a really, really good weekend of football. So hopefully you're following my football plays too. Not so much on the racing side of things, but we're going to try and
well, you're going to talk about a driver that I absolutely loved last week, and we'll talk about him as the show progresses. But definitely a good week in my books. Rye Cape saying, caught it live. It's been a while. What's up, Rye? Good to see you. Right. Jess is in. I know that this isn't a truck episode, but good to see you here.
No trucks this week either.
I know. Boji Joe saying Alex Bowman. I still don't see that in that one, so we'll just we'll go with that. Chicagoland next year.
He's been good. Alex has been good here. And we're about due for that random doesn't make sense Alex Bowman win. I will say that, but
no, not at all. All right, neither one of us have this in the doc, but we did discuss this earlier. Captain Shook, Hamlin plus 110 over Kyle Larson. I can't do it though. I can't.
Free. I don't know about free money. I certainly will not be betting on Kyle Larson. But I don't know if I would say free money. That's an interesting, like Hamlin's been really good here. Byron, you can get a plus 130 over him. They're interesting to look at, but he's been so good here. This is the site of his last good Cup Series race. Maybe he comes back and repeats it. But not bad.
I left him off my card. We will talk about him because I think he's the elephant in the room. Obviously, when you lead 200 and some odd million laps at a racetrack, then it's something you have to discuss. But yeah, definitely not on either one of our cards. Andrew saying, greetings and salutations, fine gents. Greeting, Andrew. Ash, evening, lads. Briscoe top 5 for me this weekend. We'll definitely talk about that. SS Low Roll saying, breaking news, Cody, Michigan just ripped off another 40-yard run. That's a dagger in you.
Yeah, good thing you can run the ball because you certainly can't fucking throw it. Your quarterback is not good at throwing the ball. But yeah, the Huskers suck, and I feel like a Cowboys fan, Rod. Next year will be
every year. That's like a Raiders fan too. Every year. Justin,
I gotta put down the Kool-Aid and just.
But it's red and it's good. Like I love the red Kool-Aid.
It is. Kool-Aid was invented in Nebraska. It's hard.
Justin, afternoon, gentlemen. We're gonna be alive. We'll be alive for both races this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully.
Nice. All right. Well then, like we said, we are on to Kansas. It is the Kansas Speedway for the Hollywood Casino 400 presented by ESPN Bet, which, some books are actually putting that up there, even though it's not their book, which is surprising, but we'll take it. Yeah, again, it's the mile and a half. We're back to sort of a relaxed atmosphere, and I don't want to say more predictable, Cody, because I feel like every time we say more predictable, it just becomes less predictable than it was when we initially set out. There is a quick tire news about the tires they're running, Cody. So explain that to us like I'm 5.
Well, I don't know if I can explain it that good, but let me pull up. Bob, he's very good at describing things like they're 5. But it is going to be a new right side tire this week. And here it is right here. So Goodyear has a new intermediate right side tire that will debut at Kansas and will also be used for Vegas, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. And Kansas and Vegas are almost carbon copies of each other. It's an updated construction, not the tread, but how the tire is constructed, that Goodyear says will force teams to balance grip with outright speed to maximize performance. So interesting there, I suppose. But hopefully there's thinking this right side tire. And we've seen some tire problems at Kansas. It is a high tire wear track. I know in the spring we had, I think Keselowski wrecked from second place there. I think Barry had some issues there. Maybe was he in the lead at that one? I can't remember when he had his issues, but we did see some tire issues there. We have in the past. So this will be interesting, going in without, I don't think they've tested this tire from what I can tell. And we've not run on a mile and a half since the Coke 600. And this is the debut of this tire in the playoffs here. So be interesting to see how that kind of works.
Well, and so this is what I take away from that too, because we've seen this over the last couple of weeks, especially we saw it at Bristol, where guys like, I can't say their names because I've been told never to say their names again. But look,
are you talking about Carson Hocevar or Ty
so
Gibbs,
they come
right?
out and they look like barn burners, right? Because they're going out and they're cooking their tires and they don't have enough left over for the end of the race. And then you praise them for being fast. Well, of course they're fast because everybody else was being slow and taking care of their tires. You have to be able to pick up on the nuances of your race car if you want to be considered an elite driver. You are not an elite driver if you just drive fast and everybody else is driving slow and don't take care of your stuff. So this tire is going to force you to have to try to get in that mindset. You cannot drive like a bat out of hell for 200, 300, 400 bucks.
Well, but I don't even know. Is that the goal with this? Is it to wear more, or is it just to challenge them setting up the car? I'm sort of confused on that. I don't know. Like, they've not really said it's going to wear more. It's more of they have to get the balance right on the car. So, right, Gabe, this tire will probably make no difference in the race. Possibly, right? That's always, that's, you never know. Or it could make a huge difference, right? We could be blowing out right sides, and it is whoever takes care of the tire best. So we don't, like most of the time with the tires, we don't know what we're getting. And like we saw at Bristol, right? Even practice doesn't matter. So don't overlook it too, or, don't look into it too much, because if there's not tire problems, or if there is tire problems, it could be the complete opposite from practice to the race. It's just kind of how it goes. So there was one other piece of news that came out today, Rod. Shout out to Nick Fortune in the chat. Says, good afternoon, Hot Rod and Sir Sassy Cody. Wants to know if I'm going to the race. Sadly, I am not going to the race, Nick. I will not be able to make it this weekend, but I'll be enjoying from home for sure. So one other piece of news is Randall Burnett, Kyle Busch's crew chief, will be leaving RCR at the end of the season. So he'll remain with Kyle Busch through the end of the year. He's going to go to Trackhouse next year and be the crew chief for one Connor Zilich route. So Burnett's a guy that's been around for quite some time with Kyle Busch. He's with AJ Allmendinger for a little bit. Tyler Reddick back when he was a rookie with the 8 car. So yeah, that's good to get a veteran crew chief, kind of a guy that's been around for a while and sort of knows what he's doing most of the time, depending on who you ask. Heated conversation in the Discord about that today, but nice little pairing for them to not win any races next year, which will be taking the under.
And that's because rookies don't win races. That's really all there is to it.
They don't.
That's yeah. Well, and really, again, it's not because we don't think Connor Zilich isn't talented enough to do it. The odds are literally stacked against him.
It's good. We'll have this conversation in the offseason, but we had the same thing with Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs was set at 1.5 coming in, Rob, because they thought, oh my God, and he was going to a Gibbs car, and he still doesn't want to race, and we're 3.5 years into the thing. So rookies don't win races. SVG, don't come out with the SVG stuff. Yes, he's a rookie, but he's not really a rookie. Like, he's a rookie on ovals. He ain't a rookie on road courses and street courses.
Not even close. Like, that's the reason they brought him in the first place, was to run the road courses. So if he's not going to, then you brought him in for a bad reason.
And Ty Gibbs, Bojo Joe, is the answer.
Sorry. All right. Well then, yeah. And I think we're already putting a nail in Kyle Busch's tile will be KB's kryptonite. Yeah.
Well, if you get the opportunity to bet on Kyle Busch spinning out at least once in this race, I'm pretty sure I've never seen a Kansas race in the last 5 years that he's not spun out at least once. So at one point he will just lose it, and you'll see him, and he'll be fine. He'll recover or whatever. But yeah, he'll spin out at least one point.
I mean, it's kind of like, maybe we should have a prop on that. In fact, we should ask Caesars to give us a prop, or
ESPN Bet. You're sponsoring the race. I mean, give us some.
Who will be the first car to spin out we'll put all our money on the 8 and we'll not look back in anger. So, all right. Well, then start setting up this race at Kansas. But before we do any of that, let me tell you about our friends over at MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on football and everything else. Not to mention their prop builder is second to none. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. There's easy deposit, lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. And of course, as you know, love to dig into the books and find you all of the great bets that MyBookie has to offer. I'm going to take a Nico. Hey, buddy, wake up. Going to talk about your Brisbane Lions. They're taking on the Geelong Cats in the Premiership. This is an AFL. This is for all of it, the whole championship, the trophy, the love, everything. Geelong playing Brisbane. Brisbane is 12.5-point underdogs right now. So guess what? Taking Brisbane plus 12.5, minus 127. Find that over on MyBookie, or you could take them on the money line, just straight up plus 141. That works for me as well. But it's going to be a fun championship game for the AFL title. You can find that bet and many others if you head to mybookie.ag. Use promo code SGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Since Novig is an exchange, you know you're getting some of the best prices in the market. Novig is available in 35 or more states. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. I actually can't wait to watch that grand final game between Geelong and Brisbane. It'll be a fun one.
Sounds very exciting.
So what I love too, and Nico will love this when he actually gets the chance to listen to the show. Every time they score a goal in Australian rules football, the referee does this, and he points like that. That's the touchdown sign. It's like that. And so every time, and so now even my youngest will, or actually my oldest too, she reluctantly will come down every time somebody scores a goal, and I'll see them go. And I'm like, yeah, teaching my kids, right? Love it.
Gotta start.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I teach your children well, right? There's a song about that. All right. Hollywood Casino 400. We're set for 267 laps around this 1.500 mile paved track for 400.500 miles around the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas, the other side of that one. I love that. But yeah, here we are, Cody. Tail end of the season. I'd say tail end. There's still like few weeks left, but feels like it's just dwindling down faster and faster.
It's dwindling really fast, unfortunately, Rod. So, yeah, there is 37 entries for this one. JJ Yaley is going to be driving the 44 car. That will be the only car in addition to the regularly scheduled 36 drivers. This is the second race for the round of 12. So it's Kansas this week. And then, kind of importantly, speaking of Kansas this week, the Charlotte Roval is next week. And all the drivers, all the podcasts, everybody's been talking about, you do not want to go into the Roval needing a lot of points. It's very easy to lose points there. It's very hard to gain points there. So this is going to be an important race for a lot of people. Not going to be an important race for Ryan Blaney. He's already locked in. They're already getting that Las Vegas car ready. I wouldn't be surprised. Keep an eye on Ryan Blaney this week. They might be trying something crazy out because there's no reason for them. I mean, really, obviously you go out every week trying to win, all that stuff. Yes. But if they've got something wild they want to try for Las Vegas, which is the first race of the next round, this is a perfect track. Kansas and Vegas are sister tracks, very identical. And this is a great chance to practice for them, not only for the 12 car, but if the 22 and or the 2 were able to advance into the next round, I think Penske would want to use that. So look for them to maybe be trying some stuff this week. William Byron enters 47 points to the good. Larson's 41 points to the good. They're feeling really solid about themselves. Don't go step on it this week, Captain Shook. And you'll be sitting pretty good going into the Roval next week. Christopher Bell's 29 to the good. Dennis is 27 to the good. Joey Logano, big swing for him coming from way down to way up. He's 24 to the good now. Those guys are feeling decent. Go check the boxes. Have a solid day. Chase Elliott plus 14. He's not feeling great. Briscoe plus 12 is not feeling great. And then the guys below the cut line, Chastain -12, Cindric -19. Then the 2311 brothers, Reddick is 23 to the bad. Bubba is 27 to the bad. This has been a good track for them. They might need to go out and try and get it done here. A reminder, any of these 11 guys besides Ryan Blaney wins this race, locked into the next round. They do not have to worry about the roll next week. So obviously that will be the goal for these 11 remaining drivers.
How amazing was Blaney's run last week? Just an utter, I mean, not as my daughter, as a big Blaney fan, when she saw him running up front and then she saw him when she's like, "It's our year, Dad." And I was like, it's hard to argue.
Penske is going to be, every year like they've won, obviously, every year in the next gen era, but they're going to be tough to beat at Phoenix. I think things will be different next year, going to Homestead as a finale, and it sounds likely we will get more than one race as the final next year. TBD on that. I'm sure NASCAR's waiting until the end of the season to announce it, but the Penske's got one more chance to grab this system by the throat, and they're sitting in pretty solid position to do so.
Indeed. Just one thing before we start to get to the bets. Boji Joe wants to know, will you explain Captain Shook to the new fans? Well, we have been grifted.
We clicked at the same time.
With an AI version of Kyle Larson after Indy, earned the nickname Captain Shook because of his finishes, his poor finishes.
So basically to kind of just set it up and recap, Kyle Larson, I've argued for years, is the greatest race car driver on the planet that's currently alive and racing. He's amazing, right? He gets into all this stuff, does all these things. But since the double at Indianapolis, Scotty McLaughlin wrecks out on the practice laps, and there's a picture. Go over to the Discord. Preston will gladly share it with you. But it's Larson putting his hand up like, what the fuck? And he laughs on the radio. That is the moment that he cursed himself. He made a deal with the devil, and he's not been the same since. He wrecked at Indy. He then flew to Charlotte, wrecked at Charlotte, and he's not been good since. He's had some good runs. It looked okay last week, but he's not been the Kyle Larson we know. He's not dominated any races. He's not won any races. We hear every single week about how this is his week, and he's finally going to get it done, and he's the favorite every week, and it never pays off. He's been the top Chevy once, and I think we're up to the last 10 weeks now or so. So, yes, he is Captain Shook, and he's the favorite for this race route.
I know. It's just so hard. It's very difficult to want to, because, yes, we can go up and do this, but it just hasn't happened lately. And that's Kyle Larson can win anywhere, anytime, but we just haven't seen it.
And, if anybody tells you, oh, this is his best track, he's been so good here, this is the chance he breaks it, they said the same thing 2 weeks ago at Bristol, where he led 475 laps in the spring. And guess what? He wasn't good at Bristol. Was great here in the spring in this Kansas race. He started on the pole. He led 221 laps. He dominated the race. He's won 2 of the last 3 here. He's been top 5 in 4 of the last 5 here. 6 of the last 8 here. He's been very, very good at Kansas, but he's not been good since the Coke 600. So we've now also not had any mile and a half since then, which tend to be his bread and butter. So if it happens this week, it might happen this week. But we're not betting on him. Notably, though, neither of us are betting against him either. So
here's what I'll say before we officially set up our card. We're not telling you not to bet him. If you're going to bet him, if you feel that convicted to bet him.
No, I'm telling you not to bet him. I'm telling you not to bet Kyle Larson as the favorite right now. If he goes out and starts on the front row, let's talk in the Discord and have some conversations about it, because I would be willing, if he gets that good of track position and he's right there to just run away with it and run up front all day, I'll be willing to consider it more. But you can't, the thing with him is, and we've said this for 10 weeks in a row, it's going to hit eventually. So if this is the week, fine. But if you bet on him all of those 10 weeks, you're so far in the hole that when you finally hit him, you're not getting out of that hole. So don't bet. I just can't. I don't know. I'm not going to bet on him again. And he's already sub 3-1 on some books as the favorite in this. I don't know that number is going to go drastically lower, even if he starts up front. And if he doesn't start up front, he's shown us throughout history he's not as good if he doesn't start up front. So I don't know. We'll see. But Rod might not be, but I am telling you, don't bet on Kyle Larson. I just don't. Again, it's if we get beat by him, we get beat by him, and that's fine. It's going to happen at some point. If we keep talking about it every week, not betting on him, he's going to get us, and it's going to be like, okay, he's back, and then we might bet on him the next week. But until then, I think you're just wasting your money, and it's been a waste of money so far.
Has. All right, then, since you're not betting on Kyle Larson, Cody, who are you betting on this week?
Well, Rod, I wanted to start us off with a nice shitbox special, courtesy of ESPN Bet, of course, the title sponsor of this race, in addition to the Hollywood Casino, which is located off of Turn 2 over there at Kansas Speedway. If you are going out to the track this weekend, definitely head over to the casino. That's a very nice casino. I've actually got to watch a truck race from the balcony of the casino, which overlooks Turn 2. That's pretty freaking sweet. But anyways, all right, Rod, shitbox special of the week. We've got Zane Smith and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. matched up together. You got to love matchups like this. This will have you looking up and down the board throughout the day. And I'm going to take Zane Smith. Probably to no surprise. I love to bet on Zane Smith. But I'm going to take Zane Smith minus 125 over Richard Stenhouse. So kind of setting this up, there's 3 races we've had this season that I think you can look at and say exact comp. Everything from those 3 races should translate to this race outside of the tire questions, right? Because we don't know for sure. But we went to Las Vegas in the spring, carbon copy of this track. We went here in the spring. It is this track. And we've been to Michigan in the early summertime. But it, is Ryan over at iFantasy Race refers to this as Mini Michigan. Very similar. That's a 2 mile. This is a 1.5, but race is almost the same. The tire wear is a little closer to that than Vegas. But I think those 3 races are carbon copy. You can look at those 3 races. So those are the 3 I'm weighing heaviest in there. Charlotte, Texas are also 1.5 miles. So you can look at them. Darlington's kind of your recent intermediate if you want to throw that in there. Obviously, current form I think is worth something as well, as we often talk about. But the 3 comparison tracks look pretty good. So we started out with Las Vegas. Zane Smith was 23rd there. Stenhouse was 18th. So Stenhouse did get the best of them in that one by a couple spots. First couple races of the season, Zane getting integrated into that 38 team. Go to Kansas then, 16th for Zane, 19th for Ricky, so he beat him there. Michigan, not even close. 7th place finish for Zane and 20th for Ricky. So gradually worse by 1 spot each time for Stenhouse, and pretty solidly better for Zane each and every time. We saw at the end of last year, too, really good at 1.5 miles in that 71 car towards the end of his time. So if you go back and you look at Kansas at the 3 races, they've run against each other. The first start here last spring for Zane Smith, 29th place. That was before they figured out stuff in the 71. He ended up getting fired, but came back in the fall, ran 10th place in that 71 as a lame duck, getting fired, everything. Had a great day, and 16th here in the spring race with the 38 car. In those 3 races, it was 16th, 28th, and 19th for Ricky Stenhouse. So got him in the first one, not in the last 2. So last 3 true comp tracks we had this year, Zane got 2 of the 3, and the 3 matchups here, the last 2 of the 3, also towards Zane. So you like to see that. Charlotte, Texas were drastically better for Stenhouse than they were for Zane. I will toss that out there. Charlotte, though, extra 100 miles. That plays into it. Zane wrecked out in that one. And Texas, well, it is 1.5 miles, definitely races a little bit differently. But Ricky did get the nod in both of those. Just for the record, Darlington, your kind of recent intermediate, did finish 13th to Ricky 30th. But I really like Zane in this one. I think he's got the better car, the better team. And Stenhouse just goes out and minds his P's and Q's, right? We talk about that a lot. He's a solid driver. I think he'll be 18th to 20th like he is most time. But I think Zane has potential for a little bit of a better finish, and I'm going to take him in this matchup.
So Stenhouse, he was a great DFS play, but last week, and that's exactly why we say it's a DFS play. Like betting on him makes you want to pull your hair out, whereas DFS wise, he'll get you 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10 spots and a nice solid day in DFS. But that means he's going from 31st to like 22nd. Like that's it. And so you can't really do anything with that. Zane Smith, like you said, does have the potential of getting it. So I do like this play only from the standpoint of, like we said, we know Stenhouse's ceiling, right? Especially on these 1.5 mile tracks. So Zane has a little higher ceiling than Stenhouse. So I actually looked at this one as well. But I picked another one that I like the odds on a little bit better in this case. So I'll ride with you on Zane, and I'll throw in a Ross Chastain over Tyler Reddick, minus 105 over on DraftKings. On the surface, you say to yourself, yeah, but this 45 car has owned Kansas. It was Reddick, it was Bubba, it was Busch. Everybody in the 45 has done well. And you're right. But if you just take a look at the general picture overall in the next gen era, as far as average finishes are concerned, thanks to our friends over at iFantasy Race, Ross Chastain has the sixth best average finish overall. He averages a finish of 10th place on this track, finishes of seventh in 2022 in the spring, 7th in the fall of 2022, 5th in the spring of 2023, 13th in the fall, 19th. He won this race in 2024 in the fall, and then 18th place earlier this season. Tyler Reddick, on the other hand, average finish of 19.6. And look, you want to talk about, well, yeah, in the 45, no, 17th, 20th, 25th last season, 20th and 1st the season before that, right? That's the one that he ended up winning in the 45. 9th, 35th, and 30th. So 2 top 10 finishes in his 6 overall starts on this track. I could stop there. But Ross Chastain and Tyler Reddick, the thing is, too, you're going to say, yeah, but Reddick is so fast and he's always been fast. And yeah, that's true. In fact, both of them are tied for 8th place in the speed rankings overall. But the finishes for Tyler Reddick have not been there over the last few seasons. He's been able to be got. Talk about your comp tracks, right? Las Vegas, Tyler Reddick ended up finishing in 24th, whereas Ross Chastain finished in 5th. Let's talk about Charlotte, right? The mile and a half there. Tyler Reddick ended up 26th. Ross Chastain won that race. So a good race for him there. Michigan, Ross Chastain finished in 6th place. Tyler Reddick finished in 13th. Now, just lately, right? Reddick, 21st at Loudon, whereas Reddick was 21st. Chastain was 9th. That's how that works. Bristol, 19th for Chastain, 15th for Reddick, so he got him there. Also got him at Gateway, but Darlington, Chastain finished 11th, and then Reddick got 2nd. So some off and on for Reddick, but it's been more off than it's on, right? Just overall, it just feels like it's not been a Reddick type of a season. Now he's clinging on to the end of this playoff hope thing with his teammate Bubba, and it sucks because you expect better out of Reddick, and he expects better out of her, especially at Kansas, right? Even Bubba last week was saying, well, I mean, we've been good at Kansas, but we got to be good at Kansas. This is we don't have any time to play around anymore. And I know Reddick's in the same spot, but Chastain, quietly having a pretty decent playoff run. It's nothing spectacular, but it's worth, I guess, taking him over Reddick at this point, especially being the underdog in this matchup. So I know the experts suck is saying, damn it, Rod, we have Chastain over Reddick too. Now we can fade you. Well, I mean, what can we do? I agree with you in this one. This is not where you trust Reddick, and Boji Joe actually loves this one as well. Like I said, they've been fast here, but Chastain's got better finishes.
Yeah. I really like this one too, actually. If you didn't have it in the doc, I was going to put it in there. So completely agree with you on it. I think that Chastain's been very good at mile and a halves, and Reddick has just been down this year, period. But he's also, not been good on the mile and a halves, which is where he typically had been good. Places like Michigan, you expect him to compete for the win. He doesn't. And you look back, you read off those Kansas results. As much as we think, 23-11, the 45 car, that's a lot more Bubba Wallace and Kurt Busch than it is Tyler Reddick, because Reddick's got the win, yes, but outside of that, it's not been a lot of greatness for him at this track. So, I actually really, really like this along with you. So the experts suck, asking what chaos level is this track? So it's high tire wear. So there is that, right? You should have, I will say, some comers and goers. In the springtime, we didn't really have any comers and goers. Larson led this entire race, and while I'm going to make an argument in a little bit, he wasn't the fastest car. I was there in person, and he wasn't the fastest car on the track, but he dominated the race. We've seen the closest finish in NASCAR history at this track between Larson and Buescher. That was last year. We've seen crazy races where Hamlin cuts off Larson's air on the backstretch on the final lap. I was there for that race. That was a great finish. Hamlin ends up winning that one. This has been a very racy track. It's put on a lot of good races. So I wouldn't say the chaos level is huge. We're not going to have a lot of big spectacular crashes, but I will say the Kansas fall race, playoff drivers always have issues every single year. I would expect a minimum of 2, possibly 4 playoff drivers to have a big issue and change their entire playoff picture going into the Roval next week, because it strikes every single year.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you could get, 360 million laps led, or you could get just a crazy prediction or a crazy race. We don't know, especially with this tire. We're not really sure. So can't figure that one out. All right. We will have more bets for you on the other side of this. But first, I want to formally introduce you to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is a great place to play fantasy pick'em, where you can win up to 500 times your entry. All you got to do, pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats. It's available in a ton of sports, up to and including NASCAR, where you can find that, or F1, or high limits racing, or all the other great stuff that I've given you over the course of the season. But allow me to give you a pick from the Army Black Knights football. They're playing on Thursday night against ECU, a conference matchup between the Black Knights and the ECU Pirates. I'm going to take Noah Short, one of the more explosive players for the Army Black Knights. His rushing yards are set at 38.5. Give me the higher than on Noah Short's rushing yards. Let me give you his rushing totals from the first 3 games of the season. 11 carries for 43 yards against Tarleton. 10 carries for 61 yards against Kansas State. He only got 25 yards on 6 carries against University of North Texas. But boy, that was an off game for the Black Knights, even though they came storming back, and Noah Short did not get what he usually gets. But that man is a key part and explosive. The dude is averaging 11.8 receiving yards and 4.8 yards per carry this season. It's not going to take him very many to get to that mark. So give me Noah Short higher than 38.5 rushing yards against ECU. You can find that and all kinds of other great plays over on Underdog. Plus, I got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE, SGPN. Let's tell you about our friends at Rhythm. Rhythm is it's off to a great start in college football and the NFL. Plus, Rhythm has introduced a leaderboard with weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model. You can build and you can win $1,000. Love Rhythm. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. I cannot wait to watch Army on Thursday. I do love me some Thursday night college football.
I cannot wait for Army to lose to Navy in a couple of months.
That is not happening, my friend. We are got your number. Although it's tough because Bryson Daly being out makes it very tough to win ball games.
This year, I think Navy's going to have something for you. But I can't. We always have if you're new to the show, Rod and I always do an Army-Navy game show just solely focused on betting on that game because it's after the NASCAR season. And if you don't know, Rod is in the Army still. I was in the Navy. So we always have a lot of fun with that. And, yeah, that's good off-season stuff for you.
Navy. All right, Cody, where are we going next?
Next up, Rod, going back to the Chase Briscoe top 5 plus 275. If you're going to keep giving us numbers like this, I'm going to keep taking it. We saw last week his number got brought way down. They were scared of him. Oh, my goodness. Didn't have the greatest of races at New Hampshire, unfortunately, very sadly. But he's been really good each and every single week. We talk about it every week. 2 weeks ago at Bristol, it was a 9th place finish. Started 31st. Oh, my God, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. But it wasn't. He was the second most laps led on the day, 127. Put themselves in the right position. Tires didn't go their way at the end, so he ends up with 9th. But he was running good. He was fast, looked good. Second at Worldwide Technologies. Won at Darlington, by the way. The most recent intermediate track we had. Led 309 laps in the Southern 500. Unheard of to lead that many laps and win that race. He did so. 5th at Watkins Glen, 2nd at Iowa, 2nd at Dover, 2nd at Sonoma. All races that we've had here recently. You go back and you look at the bigger picture, right? Let's zoom out and look at those races I comped to earlier. Las Vegas in the spring. We told you he was going to come out of the gate slow. Things were going to take a little while for him to figure things out. He commented he didn't know how to drive a car that was this good. 17th at Las Vegas, fine, whatever. We'll take it and we'll move on. But then they came to Kansas right when things were starting to look up. and they were looking up. He finished 4th place that day. Good, solid run. Started on the pole at Michigan, ended up 23rd, so you'd obviously like to see a better result. But then on bigger tracks, maybe not quite as comparable, but big, fast tracks after that, goes to Pocono, leads 72 laps, wins that race. Indianapolis started on the pole, led 34 laps, some late stuff there, ended up not getting the win. But obviously then the Darlington race that I mentioned. I'm all in on Chase Briscoe. I've been all in on Chase Briscoe. I'm going to keep betting him. Last week was the first week I was truly disappointed and didn't have a chance to cash the top 5 bet on him. Every other race, he's had the opportunity to and or has hit it here recently. So love him. And then, Ash tossing in as well. Finished 4th here last race. Truex Jr. almost finished 3rd and 4th in 2024. And so we've seen it, right? Races where Truex was good. Briscoe's been good as well. And really, Toyota's been extremely good at this track. We've talked about 2311. Bubba's been very good here. Reddick's had some bits of flashes. Denny's been very good here. Christopher Bell's been good here. And now Briscoe was good here in the 1-start earlier this year. So give me Chase Briscoe, top 5 at plus 275. And if there is poll numbers out, by the way, I did not see any when I was looking at odds earlier. I do like Briscoe for the poll here. I believe he won the spring poll here, and he won another bigger track that I liked as well. He'll probably be pretty short. I would guess 350, 400. But Briscoe would be my poll play.
Indeed. All right. Well, and Briscoe, he even said it too in his interview after, because they interviewed all of the playoff drivers afterwards, and he's like, I don't get it. I was supposed to be good. I felt like I should have been good. I don't know what happened. So he was disappointed.
Well, and that was not just him. Like, that was Toyota. It was Gibbs. It was like Christopher Bell. I told you last week. I've been telling you for weeks how amazing he's been there, and he was just shit. Like, they just missed the bucket completely in the Toyota camp, which is very uncharacteristic for them. Hopefully they figure that shit out before Phoenix, because that's going to be a big issue if they don't. But I mean, so I'm not overly concerned about it. It's not like, well, everybody else was good and he was bad. All the Toyotas sucked when they shouldn't have. So I think something was just off in New Hampshire, and I'm not going to overlook that, or I'm not going to look into that too much.
Well, I mean, I got a couple of thoughts on that too later on in the show. But let's turn our attention to a Chevy, and Austin Dillon is giving us Group F over on Caesars. Consists of Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Zane Smith, and Noah Gragson. I'm going to go ahead and take Austin Dillon to win this group at plus 220. If you just look at the average finish alone for the course of the season, Austin Dillon has the better average finish than all of them. Austin Dillon, 20.1 average finish to Zane Smith's 20.6 is the closest between the two, right? It's like a half of a position between them. Daniel Suarez, 21.8 in the average finish position, and then Noah Gragson pulling up the rear at 25. Now, some will say, yeah, but Noah Gragson's been fast. I get that. I do. But the finishes have not necessarily been all that great. A 16th place at New Hampshire. Okay, that's a good finish. Daniel Suarez finished 36th. Zane Smith finished 27th. But Austin Dillon beat everybody there by finishing in 13th last time around. Take a look at some of these other finishes for Austin Dillon. Michigan, 19th place for Dillon. Now, Zane Smith did get him there, got him in 7th place as well. 14th for Daniel Suarez, and 27th for Noah Gragson. Really, this battle to me turns into a head-to-head between Dillon and Zane Smith, right? Because Suarez and Gragson have just been out of the loop lately. Like I said, 16th at New Hampshire for Gragson, 23rd at Bristol, 30th at the Gateway. Did have a pretty decent 14th place run at Darlington, but 38th at Daytona, 27th at Richmond, 21st at Watkins Glen, 29th at Iowa. It's just nothing to write home about. I mean, 34th at Texas, right? He did have a top 10 at Charlotte. That's fantastic. But, 16th at Miami, 31st at Las Vegas. It just hasn't been all that good. 14th at Kansas, okay. But, yeah, it just doesn't feel good to me. So, like I said, this is going to be between Zane and Dillon in this instance for me. Dillon, 13th last week at New Hampshire, 28th at Bristol, 18th at Gateway, 23rd at Darlington, 24th at Daytona, but he won at Richmond, right? He actually has a win under his belt versus all these other guys out here that haven't. 7th at Texas earlier in the season, as well. Kind of gives you a little hope for a top 15 to top 10 finish as well. Yeah, I mean, it just, for me, this feels more like Austin Dillon's group to win, or to lose rather, than everybody else's to win. So I'm going to give the edge to what I believe is the better car. Daniel Suarez now sort of disappeared since the whole him not being around anymore next year. 36th at New Hampshire, 37th. He's crashed out at 3 races in a row. So 36th at New Hampshire, 37th at Bristol, 35th at Gateway. And even when he was running, I mean, 25th at Darlington, he did get a runner-up at Daytona and a 7th at Richmond and a 7th at Watkins Glen, but 25th at Iowa, 27th at Indy, 26th at Dover. Just nothing to write home about, right? So it is not a battle between Gragson and Suarez. You could just talk those guys and toss them out. This is between Zane and Dillon. So I'll take Dillon at plus 220 on a head-to-head that they didn't mean to put in there.
Yeah, I like looking at it from the head-to-head angle. I mean, Gragson, man, he's had some really good runs at like Las Vegas before, but he's just not had it this year. He's been very off. Suarez, as you mentioned, he's out to lunch. He's looking for a new ride, and things just aren't going his way. I don't know if they've already pulled his resources or what, but and so just breaking it down to AD and Zane, I don't mind looking at it that way. I've made a case for Zane. I'm going to make another case for Zane in a few, but I think AD could definitely win that head-to-head, and you're getting a good number if you look at it, with that as a head-to-head, I suppose. So also, Boji Joe's keeping score, and you're up 2-0 on me for bets that Boji Joe likes. Right? So.
Well, and even if you look at the overall average finishes here, right? Zane Smith, 18.3, but he's only got 3 races under his belt in the Next Gen era. Austin Dillon, 18.4. He's raced all 6 in the Next Gen era. And then Daniel Suarez, 21.1. And then Noah Gragson, just not even, worth even mentioning as far as that's concerned too. I mean, 17.7, but 18th, 18th, 29th, 18th, 14th, 9th place finish to sort of get you in there. So, yeah, definitely like this one. So thanks, Boji Joe, for backing me up on that one.
Yes. Slow roll, by the way, saying it was so bad for Toyota last week. We had Toyota on Toyota crime. We didn't talk about it, Rod, but what's your take on the Dennis Hamlin and Ty Gibbs incident?
If you've listened to this show for 5 minutes, you already know. But here's the thing. I will say this. You can't dish it if you can't take it. So if he wants to complain about racing like that, then he better never touch another driver again.
Well, he did it in a much worse fashion. He took out Brandon Jones in the race before the Final Four when Brandon Jones was going to win at Martinsville, and they would have both went to the championship race and won race for a championship. When you're the guy with his name on the building, I mean, yeah, but this is very simple for me. Denny taught the young kid a lesson, and it was a lesson he needed to teach him. Denny absolutely wrecked him on purpose. And for those, he's saying he didn't. Well, of course he's saying he didn't. He knows he can't say it because if he says it, he'll get in trouble. He cannot say, I had to teach him a lesson. In the room, I guarantee you in that room when they sit down, I fucking did that on purpose because you got to knock this shit off. That's not how we fucking race. Like that, and that's a conversation Ty needs to have because you if you're racing for your first career win or something, fine. I get it. That's different. But racing for 10th place when it means nothing to you and your 2 teammates need every point they could possibly get and they're clearly faster than you, you got to let them go. Not only your teammates, but for the company that has your name on it that you are going to be the future boss of. So, yeah, Denny taught the kid a lesson, and hopefully, Ty takes it that way.
He's not going to learn it. He's going to be the spoiled brat that he is, and he's going to go around on his stupid scooter, and he's just going to think he's not in the wrong. So, yeah, he's not learning.
All right, Rod. Next up for me.
Go ahead, Cody.
I don't like to bet on this guy. I don't. I don't like to bet on him, and I swore myself off of him, and I find myself back here again because I was at the race at Kansas Speedway in the spring, and yes, Kyle Larson led 221 laps. Yes, Kyle Larson won that race, but the fastest car in that field was Josh Berry. Josh Berry had the fastest car in the field, and you can get his top 10 at plus 140. I think this is a great number for Josh Berry. Now, it helps that he's coming off of a second place run last week after 2 back-to-back races where he barely made it 6 laps, right? So, or back-to-back-to-back because it was 3 races in a row. He's out of the playoffs now. We don't have to worry about that. He had a great run last week. He looked very good. Gets a second place finish in New Hampshire. Great. Kind of gets back on the well, right? You go back to that Kansas race. He was the fastest car here. He was running down for the lead. I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. I think he was maybe running second to Larson for a bit. Then there was an issue. I think it was a pit road penalty. I don't have it in front of me, but he got sent all the way to the back, and he charged through the fucking field like a madman. He was so fast. Just didn't have the time to get there. Got all the way back up to 6th, though. Great run. If you go back and you look at all the comp tracks this year, all the 1.5 miles this year, Penske and Ford have had speed they had not previously had, and Josh Berry in particular. Let's begin at Las Vegas. He gets his first career win, leads the final 18 laps of that race, looks extremely good, and gets the win. They come here to Kansas. He has the fastest car in the field, ends up with a 6th place finish. By the way, he started 38th, so worked his way to the front, went to the back again, and came back to the front and got a 6th place finish. So a great run there. Then you go to Michigan. Again, the other comp track. He finished 12th place, right outside of the top 10. So you like to see that. Well, how about other 1.5 miles? What did he do at Charlotte? 12th place, 1.5 miles. Okay, I like that. What did he do at Texas? Not good. 32nd, but he led 41 laps and was leading the race when he spun out and wrecked, and that's what ended up in the 32nd place finish. So the one bad finish on a 1.5 miles this year, he was leading the race when he wrecked. Shit's going to happen, right? So he's been extremely, extremely fast on the 1.5 miles this year. Very good on the comp tracks, obviously winning Vegas, being the fastest car here at Kansas. Just to get a top 10 at plus 140, he's not points racing. He's not worried about the playoffs. He just goes out, runs his race off a 2nd place finish last week. I don't know how you can't bet Josh Berry as much as I don't want to bet on Josh. I physically do not want to bet on Josh Berry, but I think you have to bet on him here because I think that this is going to be a great opportunity to bet on Josh Berry, top 10 at plus 140. You're getting a great number because of the lackluster performances lately, but we've now got a race of momentum to build off of, which I like, and it's given me a little bit more confidence in him, right? So I'm going to take that. And then also going to take Bubba Wallace, top 10 at plus 150. You know, we talked about how good he's been here at Kansas, and even that isn't always been good. He finished 33rd here in the spring. Last fall, it was 17th. May of 24 was 17th. But prior to that, September of 2023, he finished in 32nd, yes. But he was running in 3rd place when he blew a tire, hit the wall, had a very fast car that day, would have been in contention to win that one. He was 4th here in May of 2023. I was at that race in person. I was live betting him because he was that fast of a car there. Ended up not winning, but had a great day. Won, of course, here in the fall race in September of 2022. So you like that. Going back through the comp tracks this year, it's, you know, we were talking about this a lot at the beginning of the season. 2311 just doesn't have it like they normally do. 28th at Las Vegas. You don't like to see that. Obviously the bad run, 33rd here in the spring. And then Michigan, though, 4th place. So it was like, okay, now we kind of got a little bit of what we expect out of him at a track like this. So I like that. Then you go to Brickyard, which is a big, it's not really a true direct comp track, but a big high-speed track. He goes out and wins that race and in fairly convincing fashion, right? Leads 23 laps, has a great day. So you like to see that, but he's been running really, really good lately, right? Tough week at New Hampshire, yes. Bad finish at Bristol, but was running well before he ends up, was his a tire and then hit the wall. I don't remember what it was, but got into the wall, bad finish, but ran well at the Southern 500 with a 10th place finish, led 73 laps at Gateway, led 123 laps at Richmond. He's looked good. He's looked solid kind of down the stretch here. The only thing that scares me about the top 10 is they may need to try and win this race because going into the Roval for Bubba is not going to be great if he's down a lot in the points. But I think they're going to put everything into this car coming here. I think he'll have a top 10 car. So Josh Berry, top 10 plus 140. Bubba Wallace, top 10 plus.
So Boji Joe's got the score 3-2 because of Bubba. But I just want you to know.
Oh,
I just want you to know.
The comeback has started. Where's my rally cap?
Boji Joe, I had Bubba Wallace in the dock first.
Yeah, that's right, Boji Joe. I got the Navy rally cap.
Doesn't matter. I had him in the dock first. Cody threw in the top 10 afterwards. So you take that point away from Cody because he just jumped.
Yeah, but I have him in the dock twice, and you only have him
that's
once.
fine,
So
whatever.
that's an extra point for Cody.
All right, well, I'm going to just switch mine around then because you were just talking about Bubba. I'm going to continue down that road because I had him as a top 5 at plus 275 for all of what you said before, right? Whereas he's just been on that roll. He won at Indy and had a couple of good, solid top 6 finishes in that span as well. And for Bubba Wallace, I mean, you saw the disappointment on his face last week. He knows that he's going to have a winning run, and you got to go out and you got to win, right? And to win, you finish inside of the top 10 or the top 5 rather. And at plus 275 for that, I really do appreciate that. In the spring, he did have that 33rd place finish, but he had that equipment interference penalty during one of those green flag stops that he had, and then crashed in the final stage. So it wasn't good, but that was a rough beginning to Bubba Wallace's season. He has since settled down. He became that playoff driver. He switched gears and 1000% ended up being on the right side of just momentum, right? Now, of course, last week set him back a little bit, and he's going to be playing from behind as he's dead last in the point standings. But I think that in and of itself, Cody, you said he's scared, you're scared that he might try to win this race. Well, I'm encouraged that he might have to try to win this race to get in, right? Because that means to me that they're going to be making calls to win the race and not just to collect points through the day. So where some of these guys might be trying to points race, like your Briscoes, like your Elliots, like your Logano's and Hamlins, right? Even your Bells for that matter. Those guys are going to be out there point racing where Bubba Wallace is going to have to try to win this race. Tyler Reddick is going to have to try to win this race. Now, for Tyler Reddick, it scares me a little more because of the fact of the matter. He's just not that good at this track overall in finishing. But, for Bubba, like you said, his average finish here on this track in the next gen era, 16.3, but I don't feel like that's indicative of how well he can run here, especially when you saw it in the beginning of the next gen era with the 10th, 1st, and the 4th. So to me, I'm going to take the upside of a really, really solid Bubba Wallace day over the potential for him wrecking like he did in the spring. And almost 3-1 for a top 5 Toyota car that should run well at this track, right? With that 45 and that 23 and that, that whole team supposedly runs well here. Let's see if that holds up, even though the stats have not always been there for him. But yeah, Bubba Wallace, not just a top 10, but I think a top 5 this week as well as a plus 275.
Yeah, I fully agree with this, and I've got more points on him coming up. But OG Joe wants to know if we can identify who's going to point race versus who's going to go for the win. I think it's tough. I mean, I could see a William Byron. It's that the problem with trying to figure that out in this situation is we don't know all the details, right? Who's going to be good, who's not going to be good, when do the cautions fall, what opportunities does that give you? Does tire wear more than it previously did? Does it wear less than it previously did? So all that makes it kind of tough. I can see a Byron points racing if they're not one of the best cars because he's already 47 to the good. And Elliott might be a good idea for him to points race, although he was really fast here in the spring too. Had an opportunity to win this if his pit crew didn't blow up for him. But I don't know. I think everybody will go into it with the mindset of, and I think really looking at all of the playoff cars, the only playoff car that would surprise me if it won is Austin Cindric. I think I have a really tough time seeing Austin Cindric winning here. Traditionally, he's been horrible at Kansas. Did finish 11th here in the spring, but in Penske and Fords have been fast a mile and a half. So even that wouldn't be overly shocking. But the rest of these guys, like Larson could win, Byron could win, Bell could win, Hamlin could win, Logano could definitely win, Elliott could win, Briscoe could win, Chastain's won here recently, Reddick's won here recently, Bubba's won here recently. Like, that's all the playoff guys. So, I wouldn't be shocked to see any of them that need to come in and just kind of points race. So, just to address that, I suppose. All right, Rod, top 10 market. I'm going to go for some long shots. I'm going to start with John Nemechek. We're playing him again, top 10, 8-1. Look, we play him a lot, but I don't know how you can't when you look at his stats here. 17.7 average finish, and that's massively skewed by finishing 30th here last fall in a bad race. 10th here in the spring, so he already did it earlier this year. 13th here in May of 24. 17th in October. So those are his 3 next-gen starts. But if you go back to the old days in front row, 17th and 19th back in 2020 in his 2 starts here. So good, solid runs by him there. Mile and a half program's not been overly great, but we have not been to a mile and a half since the Coke 600. And since then is kind of when Legacy's begun to really click, and we've seen them break out. Darlington, recent intermediate, right? Extra 100 mile or extra 100 laps in there. So take that into account. But 4th place finish for him there. I think that's a positive. 12th place at Indianapolis. I think 8-1 is way too big of a number for a guy as good as John Nemechek, as good as that team is running. I don't remember who it was, but somebody had mentioned to me that somebody else had said on a show somewhere that Toyota potentially giving Legacy more information than they were before, trying to keep them from going to a Dodge or something like that, which is an interesting point. So speaking of points, I've tied up the points race here, Rod. So all right, and we'll see if I can get another point with Zane Smith top 10, because I've already kind of made the argument for him a little bit earlier, but he's been a guy that's been good on the mile and a half tracks kind of throughout his couple of seasons here. 16th in the spring, 10th last fall. You love to see both of those runs. And we'll just leave it at that. I've already talked about him a ton earlier. So John Nemechek, 8-1 top 10, and Zane Smith, 8-1 top 10 as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, for John Hunter, it just was disappointing for all the Toyotas, and Legacy, notwithstanding. Him and Eric Jones both had some pretty bad days. They'll bounce back. They've been pretty much those types of car all season long.
Yeah. But yeah, and Toyotas, like, again, the entire Toyota basket just missed it. Gibbs missed it. Legacy missed it. 2311 missed it. So I think you have to throw New Hampshire out for Toyota, because the entire manufacturer just completely missed it.
And then Christopher checking in saying, have we talked about the matchups between Hamlin and Captain Shook? We did. Elliott and Reddick, with Elliott being the dog. We also gave you some thoughts on Reddick, and I do.
I did not.
There was
that one. But I do like Elliott Reddick. Don't mind that at all. Elliott's was one of the faster cars here in the spring, and he's so fucking consistent, and you're just not getting that out of Reddick. So I like that. And man, Logano, I tried to. Did I work him in here anywhere?
I wanted
to.
No,
I didn't. But I wanted to. I wanted to so bad. I think Joey Logano is going to be a real threat this weekend. He's so hard to bet on, and we've said this for a long time. But Joey Logano, and he'll probably come up on the DFS show for that reason alone, is going to be good this weekend. I just didn't know how to bet on him or.
Well, I do know that I want to bet on his teammate, Ryan Blaney. And if you're going to give me top 5 numbers at plus money, one of the few drivers that is that I like, especially at plus money on BetMGM, top 5 for Ryan Blaney, plus 105. So just over even money on this one. Name me a hotter driver than Ryan Blaney as of late. I'll wait. You can't. So Ryan Blaney this season, 13 top 5 finishes. 6 of those have come within the last 8 races. So almost half of his top 5 finishes have come within the last 8 races. Iowa, 4th place. Richmond, 3rd place. Daytona, he won. Gateway, 4th. Bristol, 4th. Loudon, 1st. So 3 straight top 5 finishes for Ryan Blaney, including a win last week at New Hampshire. You're telling me. Now, I get it. The bettor's fallacy tells me that past performance does not indicate future performances. But how can you ignore 3 top 5 finishes in a row and say to me that the odds of this happening are better than even money, or are worse than even money? I can't see how that happens, because Ryan Blaney has been not only good lately, but really good on this track in his career. 2 top 5 finishes in the last 2 races that he's raced here. 3rd place in the spring, 4th place in the fall of last year. Now, before that, kind of rough. Couple of 12th place finishes in 2024 in the spring and 2023 in the fall. 16th in 2023 in the spring, 9th, and then 12th. So really his finishes have come within the last couple of years. But I will say overall, he is 5th in terms of average finishes on this track, according to our friends over at iFantasy Race. 9.7 average finish to Christopher Bell's 9.6, Denny Hamlin's 8.3, Bowman 6.8, and Larson 6.3. So overall, he still places 5th in the average finish. So all he's got to do is go out and be good like he is overall on this track. I mean, Blaney, 3rd overall in the speed rankings chart, right, with 7.86 average speed rank, versus Christopher Bell's 4.43 and Hamlin's 4.14. So not only is he fast, but he turns that speed into good finishes. I'm going to trust that he can continue to do that again. with yet another top 5 finish. 6 of 13. I understand that you fall into the trap of saying, well, it's going to happen again. But, Cody, as I've said to you time and time and time again, if you hit me 4 times in a row, 3 times in a row, I'm going to duck the next time because you're probably going to hit me again. Very rare that you're going to just swing and miss. And for Ryan Blaney, they're hot right now. Yes, I get it. They don't have to do anything else. They could just come out and run a nice little clean race. But to that, I say, you don't want to go into the rest of the playoffs just rolling around. This team wants to continue to perform at a high level. I don't think they're going to back off. I don't think Penske's going to back off. And I think Ryan Blaney is still in line and fast enough, regardless of what happens around him, to turn a top 5 finish at plus 105.
Yeah, the one thing that scares me is if they're testing for Vegas and it just puts them completely out to lunch. I think that's a possible scenario. But there's still playoff points to be had, right, which could come in huge in the next round. He's definitely a guy, if you get a chance to win a stage late, go take that playoff point, which could hurt the top 5, so I will point that out. But otherwise, he should be fast. He's been good every week lately. He should continue to be good. I talked about with Josh Berry earlier. Penske's been good on the mile and a half and fast on the mile and a half, and so has Ford all year, which is something we haven't traditionally seen in the past. And Blaney's one of the reasons I don't like Logano for top Ford. Like I looked at that. That was a way I was trying to get in on it, but between Logano and Berry and Preece and Keselowski, Ford is strong this week, I think, at this track. And I don't know, just couldn't quite pull it.
All right. Well, then you can pull the trigger on your next couple of bets.
Yes. So I am going to go to the top Toyota market, and this one's pretty simple. I'm just going to take Bubba Wallace at 10-1. I think that Denny Hamlin's going to be really good. I think Seabell, I'm afraid to say his name at this point in time, might be good. Although, outside of that win at Bristol, he's not been good lately. So maybe I didn't lean into enough of he just kind of got the strategy right with the tire race. I don't know. Tyler Reddick is 4-1 in this market. That's crazy. For what? Chase Briscoe always scares you, right? Because he's been good. But then it's Bubba Wallace. I mean, outside of that, like, I'm not worried about Ty Gibbs. Nemechek and Jones, I think, can have good days, and you're not worried about Herbst, really. So at 10-1, when he's won here before. He's had races where he's been the best car. Indianapolis, or not the Indianapolis 500, but the Brickyard 400 a couple weeks ago, right? He was good there. I think at 10-1, just enough value to only go beat the other Toyotas that I like Bubba for that. And then Group G, interestingly enough, Caesars actually did this very nicely. Group G over on Caesars is the Gibbs group. Group H also is the Hendrick group. So it's got all 4 of the drivers from those teams, which is interesting. I like that. So, yes, the G group is the Gibbs group. So I'm going to go over to that one. So it's the 4 Gibbs cars in this group. So essentially, you have to pick between Bell, Briscoe, and Hamlin, right? Because we're not worried about Gibbs right now. And Briscoe is plus 380. He's the longest of those 3 guys. Why couldn't he go beat Bell, who's struggled a lot recently, and Hamlin, who has had a lot of great days here, but things can happen, right? And Briscoe, we've seen go head-to-head with Denny plenty of times at plus 380 to essentially go beat 2 teammates in Bell and Hamlin. I don't mind that at all. Gibbs obviously is included in that group, but he just doesn't scare me right now. So, that's Group G on Caesars at plus 384.
I did think that was really clever that they did that with the G and the H group. And I was like, when I was clicking through the groups,
Usually it's like random, like they don't even have like an A through H, and it's just like, oh, this is Group M for no fucking reason. But it actually lined up to G and H. And I was like, hey, somebody at Caesars was paying attention.
No, I was like, oh, that's really nice. And I just didn't want to do any of those. So I'm glad that you did, because that was pretty funny. All right, well, then I'm going to go to one of my fun little special bets, and I am going to take the grid position of the winner. So the starting grid position, essentially, of the eventual race winner. Over means that it is more than, so higher than 4.5. So minus 115. So I say that the winner of this race is going to come from the 5th position on back. Now, if you look at the spring, Kyle Larson hit the pole, won the race. That was one of the outliers. And then in 2024, in the spring, he was a 4th place starter and a 1st place finisher. But outside of Kyle Larson, everybody else that's won this race in the next gen era has come from either 5th place or more on the starting grid. Ross Chastain won in the 2024 fall race, coming from the 20th spot on the grid. Tyler Reddick won from the 5th spot on the grid in the fall race of 2023. That spring, it was Denny Hamlin who started 8th and won the race. And then you go back to the 2022 fall race, where it was Bubba Wallace that started in 6th place, ended up winning the race. And then in the 2022 race, the very first one in the next gen era, Kurt Busch in that 45 started from the 5th spot on the grid and won the race. So again, 2 of the 6 have been outside of the, 2 of the 6 have come from inside of the top 4. However, the rest of the remaining ones have been outside of the top 5 in the starting grid. And I just think that that is a stat that you can lean on and look to, because unless Kyle Larson starts in the top 5, no one else has really done it, right? I mean, everybody else has sort of just been there and not won the race from inside of the top 5. So like I said, I do now keep an eye on it, obviously, because if it happens, they'll probably keep this up. But if you want to bet it now, I think you're safe. But like I said, I just feel like this is a fun little stat and a fun little thing to track.
And, Larson, we mentioned it in the DFS show at Bristol. If he starts top 5, maybe you reconsider. Of course, he started 5th to make us reconsider, which we held fast with our take and ended up not having a good run, right? Just because he starts up near the front doesn't mean he's going to win either. Things can happen. If anybody can step on it, he's got the biggest one out there, apparently, because he steps on it more than anybody else does. So definitely possible. And, Boji Joe was bringing up in the chat earlier, 7-1 for a driver to sweep the stages and win the race. That's crazy low for, what seemed to be a track position race in the spring. But that race was a complete outlier. The only next-gen race where somebody swept the stages and won. In the past, Kansas has not been as much of a track position race. It's been racy. It's been, and what happened in the spring? Was it the perfect weather, the perfect tire combination? They just hit it that day, which Kyle Larson can do at times. Maybe, right? But I don't expect that to be, especially in the playoffs in the fall, I don't expect that to be the case again this weekend.
I agree.
I like your take there for the winning driver starting 5th place or worse, essentially. All right, Rod, head to the outright markets. Still tied 3-3 over here on the Boji Joe scoreboard. So got to give a hot take to win here. My take is I like the guy you're going to give out to be the winner. You got him in the dock before I did. If I was going to take a favorite, that's the guy I would bet on. But I'm going with a strategy of 4 guys that are a little bit longer shot. 16-1 or more. Break this up however you want to. Chase Briscoe at 16-1 on FanDuel. They're doing it again. Why are you giving us one of the hottest drivers in the field that's had a great car every single week, with the exception of last week when all the Toyotas sucked, at 16-1? It makes no sense. Love Chase Briscoe here. 4th place in the spring. Been good all throughout the season. Give me Chase Briscoe at 16-1. Bubba Wallace at 25-1. He's won here before in the fall race. I think they're going to throw everything they have at this. He's had, while the results haven't always been indicative of the cars he's had very, very fast cars here. They've got some secrets here. I think if they dig deep in the archives, they can set this car up and he can go win at 25-1. I like it. Chris Buescher, a guy we haven't talked about today or really much at all lately. You can get him 28-1 over on ESPN. He's the one guy on here I've not really talked about much yet today, so going to touch on him here quickly. He's been good at Kansas. Finished 8th here in the spring. He had a good solid run. 11th here in the fall last year. May of 24, led 54 laps. Closest loss in NASCAR history he had. So been really good in the last 3 races here. And then, you go back and you look at his season, and it's been quiet for really a lot. But he's had some good runs lately. 18th at New Hampshire, 11th at Bristol, 9th at Gateway, 10th at Darlington, 7th at Daytona. Richmond was a rough race, but 3rd at Watkins Glen. So he's had good runs lately. So you like that. You go back and you look at the comp tracks this year, 8th at Kansas in the spring, obviously pops off. That's great. 13th at Vegas. I would have liked to see it be a little bit better. Michigan, though, he ran 2nd place, had a great day there. So they brought the speed. They've had some stuff. 4th place at Pocono if you're looking at bigger tracks. He's had some good runs, and I think he's just a guy that could quietly, everything he does is quiet, right? But could pop off the charts for you, and maybe he just shows up and has a bad day. Keselowski was very good here in the spring, by the way. I think he was 2nd when he had his tire issue and got into the wall. So give me Chris Buescher as a surprise guy. 28-1, I think, is worth the long shot. And then this one, I have the emoji next to it, Rod. It's the frustration emoji. I don't know that I want to bet this, but Josh Berry at 35-1. I was there in person, and he had the fastest car here in the spring. He won at Las Vegas. He was leading at Texas when he wrecked. Good at Michigan. I don't know how you can't bet him at a long number, because if they find that magic again that he's had on pretty much all the mile and a halves this year, at 35-1, we could be looking back and saying, holy shit, he was so good here in the spring. Why do we not take this? So Josh Berry 35-1 is my longest shot.
I like Josh Berry, right? I've liked Josh Berry since his JRM days, and I gave him out last week and had a very, very fantastic. My only regret last week was that I wasn't higher on Josh Berry. That's all right, Cody. That's fine. That's because you give out more bets than I do. Of course you're going to win. By volume, you are.
I'm a man of the people, Rod. What can I say?
Cody took the lead 4-3 over me on Boji Joe's scorecard. But again, because he throws out all of them, and I can't catch up because I don't give him out all of them. But no, I do love Berry. I'm so glad. Like I said, my only regret last week was that I wasn't higher on Josh Berry. So I love that. All right, my winner. I'm not even going to toy around. It's Denny Hamlin. Plus 650 on FanDuel, which is a really good price considering he's about 6-1. Everywhere else, you can get plus 650 over on FanDuel right now. If you just look at Denny Hamlin, he's got the fastest speed rankings on the heat chart over here for our friends over at iFantasy Race. He's just been the fastest car pretty much every year. First in 2023 in the spring, first in 2022 or 2023 in the fall, first in 2024 in the spring. All three of those, he's just been the fastest car on the track. 4.14 overall average speed ranking. Where does that translate as far as finishes are concerned? Well, he's third overall, but there is one race that is dragging his average down, and that's the 36 that he finished in the spring. So 8.3 overall, but finishes a fourth, second, first, second, fifth, eighth in the next-gen era for Denny Hamlin. What happened to him in the spring of 2023? Well, around lap 195, guy's clutch failed. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get there. That clutch let him down, as Boji Joe, I think, pointed out earlier in the other thing. And look, right? I mean, Denny Hamlin drives with a chip on his shoulder, both of his shoulders, and everybody else's shoulders around him. So you think that the last couple of weeks have not just gnawed on him since he won at Gateway, right? I mean, 31st at Bristol and 12th at Loudon. This is coming from a guy that won at Dover, won at Michigan, was 36 with a drivetrain problem, like I said, at Kansas, won at Darlington, won at Martinsville, fifth at Homestead, had a bad day in Las Vegas, but finished second at Phoenix. Like, I don't really feel like I need to defend Denny too much, because he can just jump out and win a race, especially one that he's fast at, a track that he's fast at, place that he knows that he's got to win again. He doesn't have to really particularly win to make it to the next round of the playoffs, but he's Denny Hamlin. He's chasing after this first elusive championship, even though it means nothing to him. But I'm telling you, this is one of his last shots, and I think he knows it. This is his best shot to do this, and I think he's going to pull out all the stops. He's going to wreck all the 54s that he can to get there, and he's already proven that last week, that he is going to take chances to win races. So this is his track. I think this is an opportunity for him to get that win again, to advance to the next round, so he doesn't have to worry about it next week at the Roval. So give me Denny Hamlin at plus 650 on FanDuel to win the race.
Yeah, love this play. Like I said, if I was going to take one of the favorites, he's the guy I would take. I will be betting this in addition to the ones that I gave out. I think he's the favorite to beat. I think that he's had a lot of speed all year, and yeah, Rod with the last second win with the quote, "Winning a championship means nothing to him." So congrats to you, Rod. Christopher also loves Denny this week. That plus 110 on Denny, like, we might look back and just be like, man, that was such a hammer. And he wants to know if we like Byron or Logano better. I like Logano better this week, Rod. Byron's not had it lately, and like, he just needs to go play it safe and get points this week.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, because
as scary as that is.
I was trying. I mean, I was looking again. I was looking at that angle because I saw that matchup. or somewhere in that vicinity, and I saw he was looking at Byron. I just couldn't put the trigger on him.
Yeah. He's so tough because, like I said, I was looking at top 4, but then you got Barry's a longer number, Buscher's a longer number. Brad scares me in that market. I was looking at the top 5, but then you got like Briscoe at such a good number where he's just a better car on a week-to-week basis. I was looking at outright, but he's 16-1, and Briscoe's right there at 16-1 too. Like, how do I not bet Briscoe at this point in time? Yeah, I don't know. Las Vegas in a couple of weeks, I'll probably bet Joey if he's in the next round of the playoffs because that's what he does. But yeah, he's going to be good this week. Just he's hard to find a way to get it on. But over Byron, I would take him.
All right, get out your pen and paper. Time to go over our bets for this Hollywood Casino 400 from the Kansas Speedway. I started you off with Daniel Suarez over Carson. Did I not? No. Chastain over Reddick.
Who did this graphic? This is from Talladega.
That is the wrong graphic. I totally screwed up the graphic. All right, well, never mind.
I was going to say.
I downloaded the wrong graphic, so never mind. For the YouTube folks, we'll put it maybe in the Discord or something. So, all right, get out your pen and paper. Going over our bets for this. I started you off with Ross Chastain over Tyler Reddick at -105 over on DraftKings. Cody gave you Zane Smith over Ricky Stenhouse at -125. I gave you Austin Dillon to win Group F over on Caesars at +220 over Daniel Suarez, Zane Smith, and Noah Gragson. Cody gave you Chase Briscoe as a top 5 car at +275. I said that Bubba Wallace would be a top 5 car. Cody followed that up with Josh Berry as a top 10 car at +140 and Bubba Wallace as a top 10 car at +150. I also gave you Ryan Blaney to be a top 5 car at +105. Cody gave you John Hunter Nemechek as a top 10 car at 8-1 and Zane Smith top 10 at 8-1. I said that the grid position of the eventual winner would be over 4.5 at -115. Cody gave you Bubba as a top Toyota at 10-1. Also gave you Caesars Group G to win for Briscoe at +380 over all the Gibbs cars. He also gave you Chase Briscoe at 16-1 to win, Bubba Wallace at 25-1, Chris Buescher at 28-1, Josh Berry at 35-1, and I gave you Denny Hamlin at +650 to win this race. I'm sorry, what did I miss?
Well, it's a tie now, Rod. You get a minus point for the wrong graphic, so it's tied at 5. I've requested a review. I think that should be -2 points. Boji Joe is conferring with New York right now, so we'll see what the.
I want Dean Blandino. I don't want Pereira. Give me Dean Blandino. All right.
I'm a Gene Steratore guy myself, but yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Slow roll saying great show, guys. Thank you so much for your service, sacrifice for the country.
Thanks.
Thank you for your support. All right. Yeah. Well, Cody, let's send everybody away to start filling out the cards. Again, I'm sorry for the graphic, guys. That's my bad. I downloaded Talladega. I don't know why.
Shit happens, Rod. Shout out to Chris. Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, a little bit of a longer show, but a lot to talk about today. I think we got some good bets. Gonna rebound off of a tough week for me, at least last week. So feeling good. Get some magic here in Kansas. Best luck to everybody this week. We'll be back tomorrow, Rod. Should be good for Xfinity. It's gonna be a late show, probably 8 o'clock Central Time or so. And so yeah, just for everybody's planning purposes. Sorry, but another late one for us. We're busy here lately, Rod. So
yeah, well, it's sports season, it's band season, it's all kinds of stuff. So yeah, definitely. But all right. In the meantime, Cody, let everyone know where they can find you outside of this space.
Yeah, follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff there. Like I said, 11-6, or was it 10-6? 11-5, I think is what it was on the NFL this past week against the spread. I write half of the game previews every week, so you can check out all those prop articles, college football articles, NBA stuff coming up soon. So all sorts of stuff, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, but find that all over on my X at @Husker_Zeeb. Right,
follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. There is all kinds of stuff that I post up there as well. Make sure you're checking out the Back Road on Thursday. Elliot and I, once again, going to hold down the fort as we move into Kansas and having some fun with Toto, Dorothy, and the Tin Man. I don't like the Scarecrow or the Lion. They give me the heebie-jeebies, but follow me out there, guys. Absolutely love you guys. I know. Well, I mean,
minus
Tin Man is 77 and the Scarecrow's 54, so we'll just go with that. All right, love you guys. We'll see you all tomorrow for Xfinity. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.